live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Sale. We have a lot to get into today. We got post-trade deadline talk. We have recapping Week 8. We are officially at the halfway point of the NFL season. Plus, we got Week 9 picks, and we got a whole lot to get into. So, let's start off with everybody's favorite segment. Yes, I'm bringing it out since we finally won. Recapping with Rich. All right, we got starting off with the Ravens and the Bucks. Now, this is how it's going to go. Recapping with Rich, some trade deadline talk. I'll tell you what I like from each team's side of things, and then the Week 9 picks. So we're clear. All right? Ravens and Bucks. Watch this game closely, mainly for Tampa because I want to see some things that were not going right. But for the Ravens side of things, though Lamar Jackson was pretty good, I wouldn't say great, okay? 27 to 38, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. As the game wore on, the running game was ready. They just feasted. Mainly because Tampa's defense was gassed. They were tired. They couldn't get a push off the ball. Nothing. Okay? They got like 7 yards of carry in this game. And this is supposed to be a top run defense in the league, Tampa. Well, you could say you couldn't tell because the Ravens are just so much better running the ball than Tampa's at stopping it. But the Ravens scheme really wore them out. Duvernay had a rushing touchdown. Isaiah Likely, Kenyon Drake had a receiving touchdown each. O-line's still shaky. I'm not sold on them still. That's been my big question mark with the Ravens offense. That and the receivers. And Lamar's ability to consistently produce in the passing game. Defense gave up 22 points allowed. Kayvon Seymour had a fumble recovery. Justin Houston had 2 of the team's 3 sacks. 3 of 6 in the red zone. That's not great. I've seen the one where Lamar waved off Harbaugh like he was Brady or Manning saying, no, you know. But they got a turnover on downs. I didn't like that. But 3 of 6 in the red zone, shaky. 7 penalties for 101 yards. There's still some cleaning up to do. I don't think they're really that polished as a football team. I think they got some major things to clean up. I'm not sold on the defense. I think the offensive line's shaky. I don't believe their receivers are that good. Okay, and I don't trust Lamar to consistently produce in the passing game. So their defense, like I said, they have some tendency to blow leads. That's another thing too. It's just, I'm not sold on the Ravens. I'm not. But I do acknowledge they'll be in the playoffs, I think. I just don't see them really making that much of a leap. But they have the tendency to win a playoff game and maybe make it to the second round. But they are not ready for the big boys that we'll cover later. Which brings me to Tampa. If you guys think I'm saying Brady's falling off the cliff, it's not happening. He hasn't. This is what I've noticed. The first drive I thought was great. They called a great opening drive. I was screaming for more running the ball. And, they had the nice play action. They had a perfect opening drive. But this is what I need to know. They score, and then there's a long drought. And then they wait to score too late. It's like they can't get in a consistent rhythm, a flow. They can't be consistent. But I'm going to be honest. Tom Brady's my favorite player. He's my guy. He was inaccurate Thursday night. He missed some throws, and I was like, how did he miss those throws? He makes them most of the time. And he was off. And I was like, why is he off? Line looked okay. No free rushers sometimes. I'm like, he's off. Now, from a more off the field standpoint, I think people know what's going on. I'm not going to bring it up, okay? Especially since it happened the day after the game. For those of you that don't know, well, I don't know what more I need to tell you. Then it's, obviously it's with his wife. I'm not going to bring it up. I mentioned it probably last week or previous shows. But he was off. Fournette, he had a rushing touchdown. I felt like they abandoned the run. Mike Evans, 6 catches, 123 yards. Godwin, 6 for 75. Julio caught a touchdown. Offensive line, I will say, was shaky. I think the weakness is more from the interior than the edges because Wirfs was playing. I think Donovan Smith was playing, but their interior is really, really shaky. Okay, and they got a tall task next week. Don't get me started. But the defense really, they were doing great in the first half. They doubled Mark Andrews, something I was saying on this show. Why did nobody else do it? And they did it in the first half until he got hurt. Then the run game just took over. Okay? They got gassed. They gave up 27 points allowed. 3 sacks they were able to get on Lamar. That's a big sign for them. But the special teams blunder. They were lucky they held them to 3. But this has been a common problem. They have a lot of special teams problems. The kickoff fumbles against Kansas City. They had the special teams blunder Thursday night. They're hurting themselves with turnovers. And when you turn it over, you look at one possession games, that hurts you. Okay? 4 of 13 on third down, awful. 2 of 5 in the red zone, not that much better. That's actually bad. Okay? Really bad. 1 turnover. Now, we have 8 games now in the sample size. Is it panic time in Tampa? I seen their schedule. It might be. I don't like what I'm seeing. Okay? And if this is what I'm going to be getting on a consistent basis, it's panic time for Tampa. The only thing I will say that will not make me say panic time is they play in a weak division. But Atlanta and New Orleans, they're close. Carolina, they blew the game, which we'll get to 2 games from now. But weak division, they can certainly bounce back, but it almost might be panic time for Tampa. I don't like things that I'm seeing. Broncos and the Jaguars. I didn't watch this game. I wanted no part of it. Okay? Absolutely no part of this game whatsoever. Okay? Russell Wilson was okay. I know he said after the game, let's ride or whatever. I know he did some shit on the plane that people thought was a little cringe or whatever. I didn't watch it personally. I wanted no part of that either. But he was okay. Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon had a rushing touchdown each. Dolchich, Judy stepped up in the passing game. Dolchich had, I think, 4 for 87. Jerry Judy had 6 catches, 63 yards and a touchdown. Okay? O-line was shaky. Now, the defense is legit. We'll talk about who they lost to Miami. They gave up 17 points allowed. That's going to be great if your offense can score like they did. 2 sacks, 2 picks. It works. But the offense worries me. 2 of 11 on third down. Not very good. But they finally were able to score a little bit. I don't trust them down the road to score this much. I don't think they will be able to score that much. 12 penalties, 1 turnover. If you're asking me if I'm still a believer in Nathaniel Hackett, absolutely not. No way. Not after 1 game, please. How they're 3-5, I don't know. But they're not a very good 3-5 team. Okay? No chance I'm believing in Nathaniel Hackett. No way. Okay? No. Still part of the Nathaniel Hackett's the worst coach in the NFL fan club. Shout out to Joey. He was actually the one that started it. We had him on, but we'll get him on more for NBA nerds, but I got to shout him out on that one. Then let's get to the Jags. Trevor Lawrence was disappointing. Now, granted, this is a top defense, Denver, but this was a disappointing outing for Lawrence. Okay? 18-31, 133 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Travis Etienne showed up. 24 for 156 and a touchdown. Evan Ingram caught a touchdown, 4 catches, 55 yards. Okay? Defense gave up 21. Jacksonville just couldn't score. Okay? And here's the thing that's going to bother me. All right? I'm jumping ahead on this. Okay? I'll get to the defense in a second, but this is what bothers me about Trevor Lawrence. They're at the 1 yard line. Okay? I'm watching something else with my dad. Okay? And I hear from my friend that says to me, he threw a pick in the red zone. Well, what's my biggest pet peeve? Why are you throwing from the 1 yard line? I've got more pet peeves. Don't get me started on my game, okay? But, damn it, why are you pulling a Pete Carroll in London? Why are people throwing from the 1 yard line? Can I ask why? I mean, run. ETN's going. ETN's doing great. Why would you take the ball out of his hands and throw a 1 yard pass? Did you not watch the Seattle Super Bowl with the Patriots? Well, it was really at the 2, but still, it's 1 yard. Well, it was at the 1 actually, but you're throwing at the 1 yard line. Do you not see what it cost Seattle? What in the heck makes you think you can do that again? I don't get it. Why are you throwing on the 1 yard line? You're telling me your run game can't get 1 yard? Really? This is what we're at right now. Boy, this game is changing. I don't like it. I don't. Okay? Speaking of the defense, okay, they gave up 21. They got 3 sacks. Campbell had the interception. 4 of 11 on third down. Terrible. Okay? 1 of 3 in the red zone. I mentioned the red zone pick. Need I say more? 2 turnovers. Jacksonville can't stop anybody on defense. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. And they turn it over in the red zone like that. What more do I need to make of the Jags? They just make dumb decisions. Okay, and don't get me started on Doug Peterson going for it on 4th down. He didn't go for it a lot this game. But games before, we mentioned it, the Giants game, it's not helping. Like somebody else, Brandon Staley and many other guys going for it. It's not helping. It's not helping. Panthers and the Falcons. Caught the end of this game before I split time between the Giants, Seahawks, and the Niners, Rams, but I did catch the end of this at forced overtime. P.J. Walker was good. I wouldn't say great because he had the pick 6. We'll mention it in a little bit. Deontay Foreman, 26 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Looks like he's going to be the lead back maybe for the rest of the season for Carolina. Maybe because Chuba Hubbard was out. It was a nice audition tape for him. DJ Moore. He had a great game. 6 catches, 152 yards, and a touchdown. But the penalty on the end, oh my God. That's just stupid, okay? I understand emotions are running high. You just caught a game-tying touchdown. But you're missing one little element. You need the kicker to kick the game-winning extra point. Then you can maybe celebrate and be good. No. Emotions took over. He throws a parade like they had a walk-off touchdown. No, you had the game-tying touchdown. Not the game-winning one. Big difference. The kicker's got to make the extra point. You don't. You give him the penalty. He misses it. And we got overtime. Oh, man. And he knew he messed up. He knew he messed up on the sideline if you saw the footage. You knew it. He knew he messed up. Okay? Stupid penalties, man. That drives a coach crazy. All right? Defense, they were not very good. They were awful. Okay? I would say shit, but they did have the pick 6. No, wait. Atlanta had the pick 6. Defense was shit. 2 sacks. They gave up 31, really. Okay? 2 interceptions. The 2 missed opportunities. Now, if none of those happen, we're having a different conversation about this game. Okay? The pick 6 took points off the board. Okay? For, how much the defense gave up. But they gave Atlanta points. You don't throw that pick 6, we're having a different conversation. The missed field goal, that's another one in overtime. You had a chance to go win the game? Nope. Missed opportunity. 3 of 5 in the red zone, 9 penalties. They had the 1 turnover. I still think they're going to be a top 5 draft team. I'm not backing off it. I know they've been competitive with Steve Wilkes as the new interim coach, Not backing off it. But they've been competitive so far that they weren't with Matt Rule. Which brings me to the Falcons. Mariota was okay. Huntley, 16 carries, 91 yards. The 1 week I benched Kyle Pitts in fantasy, he actually does good. 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Demir Bird's been heating up lately, though. 3 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Alligator had a receiving touchdown. The defense gave up 34. Not very good. That's been the big question mark I have with Atlanta. 1 sack. Lorenzo Carter at the pick 6. They were 6-12 on third down. That's great. Okay. 7 penalties for 69 yards or 64. 2 turnovers. Atlanta is just okay. But again, that division's wide open because Tampa's not playing great. And New Orleans struggled a little bit early. Now they had a nice win, which we'll get into in a little bit. But division's wide open in the NFC South. Bears and the Cowboys. Justin Fields was good. 17-23, 151 passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. On the ground, 8 carries, 60 yards and a touchdown. Okay. Khalil Herbert, 16 carries, 99 yards and a touchdown. Can you believe they're the number 1 rushing attack in football? I would have never guessed them to start the year as the number 1 rushing attack in football. Okay. N'Keal Harry, Cole Kmet had a receiving touchdown. Offensive line sucks. All right, that's their one thing outside of receivers, which we'll talk about somebody that they just got. But again, their offensive line is dreadful. It's terrible. Okay. Defense gave up 43 points allowed. They had 1 sack. Eddie Jackson got the pick. The fumble return touchdown, the turnover on downs made the score more lopsided because of the missed opportunities they had. 4 of 6 in the red zone, 2 possessions. You lost by 20, but there was a lot of factors why you lost this game. 6 penalties and the 1 turnover. Yeah, that's the Bears. And unfortunately, we lost them the week before. Don't get me started on that week. But yeah, kind of knew that the Bears had that one great moment and would turn right back. The game is weird ebbs and flows. Which brings me to the Cowboys. Prescott had 2 touchdown passes. He had a rushing touchdown. He's easing his way back in. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns. If I'm the Cowboys, and I'm being honest here, I know it's reputation. I know Zeke's the bigger name. Tony Pollard needs to start over Zeke down the rest of the year. He's got the, I don't know if I want to say this, he's got the juice. He's got the flashy. He's got the engine that you go with. Okay? It's the way he flows with that offense. He brings the burst that Zeke doesn't have, that he used to have a while back. Zeke doesn't have that no more. Okay? Tony Pollard also catches the ball out of the backfield better than Zeke. Start Tony Pollard, Jerry. Okay? I know you paid Zeke. I know you gave him, I know he's the big name starter. No. Start Tony Pollard the rest of the way. I'm telling you. Cowboy fans are probably saying the same thing I'm saying. Run game gave up 7 yards per carry. CeeDee Lamb, 5 catches, 77 yards and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz, 6 catches, 74 yards. Ferguson had the touchdown. Defense gave up 29, a little shaky. Okay? They got 4 sacks. Micah Parsons had the fumble return for touchdown. 9 of 11 on third down was absolutely great. 6 penalties, though, Dallas. The one thing I'm begging, take that number down. You might make a deep playoff run. You might, the way the NFC's looking. Unless you're playing the Niners or the Eagles. I think you guys can beat Minnesota. You're going to play them later in the year. But, again, you could make a deep playoff run if you tone down the penalties and gives Tony Pollard maybe more carries than Zeke. That's me. That's my opinion. Okay? But that's the Cowboys. They got to clean up the penalties. Miami, Detroit. Tua played great, but it's the Lions. Okay? He played great, though. 29-36, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns. Running game did good. Tyreek Hill, 12 catches, 188 yards. I still can't believe he's the number 1 receiver in yards this year. He almost has 1,000 in 8 games. Yes, I looked it up this morning. I think he has 981 to be exact. I couldn't believe it. Similar to Adam Thielen a couple years back. But I believe Tyreek's going to have way more than by the time the season ends. Plus an extra game. Okay? Jalen Waddle, 8 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Played great for me in fantasy. Got the win, which was clutch. I'll bring up somebody later. Mike Gesicki had a touchdown. Defense gave up 27 points, 1 sack. They got no takeaways. They had the fumble on missed opportunities. They had 8 of 12 on third down. That's great. Okay, that offense is rolling. All right? 7 penalties, though. They got to tone that down. But Miami's showing they could score, and they just got a big piece on defense. I don't know. Miami's looking like they're going to steal a wild card right now. But I remind you, I looked at their schedule. I want to see how they play down the stretch. I think they're going to be on a roll right now until one game starts. And that back half is brutal. Okay? I just want to see how they look towards that late season stretch. I don't think that late season stretch is favorable. Look at the schedule if you want to check it out. Because I seen it, and I think that late season stretch is going to be their real test. Okay? Which brings me to the Lions. Jared Goff was good, 27-37 for 321. He had a touchdown. Jamal Williams ran it in twice, okay, for 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift came back. He caught a touchdown. But the defense of Detroit, it's the one thing I know the Lions can't do. So if you have the Lions, take the over, unless you had it in the Patriot game or the Dallas game, then that's a good defense. Take the over in the Lions games, okay? I forgot who they play this week, but the Lions, they can score. They just have no defense, okay? 31 points allowed, 2 sacks. Rodriguez had the fumble recovery sack. He had a nice game. But, again, turnover on downs, the 4th and 1 was the difference in this game. Now, I didn't watch this game, but 4th and 1, I don't know how you don't have a play that is solid in terms of at least 2 yards, and I'm assuming they were trying to get out of bounds. You can't have a good play towards the sideline or have a good 2-yard play and, extend the drive. I don't know why, but again, that's when you lose these close games, it's coaching and Dan Campbell, I'll get into in a little bit. 3 of 4 in the red zone, 6 penalties, 1 possession, 1 score. The Lions can't seem to win these close games. They just can't seem to do it. And I know ownership's patient with Campbell and Holmes. I don't know how much patience they can have because they're going in the same direction they were last year. Okay? Cardinals and the Vikings. Kyler Murray was okay. 31 of 44, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Okay? Run game, they were not very good this game. Okay? Hopkins still looks like his old self. 12 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown. Rondale Moore, 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Zach Ertz had a receiving touchdown. Okay? Offensive line gave up 4 sacks. Okay? The oldest saying goes, if you have a mobile quarterback, the more times he's sacked. If you have a pocket quarterback, less times he's sacked because he's used to being in the pocket. Maybe that's why the high O-line totals are. Mostly bad line play, maybe. But there's some theory to that. Defense, 34 points allowed, 3 sacks. Isaiah Simmons had the fumble recovery. J.J. Watt had a throwback game, 2 sacks for him, going back to his prime Texan days. But, again, 2 interceptions, the turnover on downs. Kyler Murray, you're backed up at your own 9-yard line. Why would you throw a pick? You're basically giving Minnesota free 7. That's exactly what happened. Why do you throw a pick at your own 9-yard line? You got to know sometimes where you're at. Okay? And he didn't know he was back up at his own 9. No, he did, but he threw a pick. That gave Minnesota free 7 right there. And you lost by 8. That's 1 possession there. Okay? Difference in the game, essentially. Turnover on downs and 2 picks. 4 of 11 on third down. Not good. 2 of 3 in the red zone. 1 possession game. Touchdown and 2 points, really. 10 penalties and 3 turnovers. Arizona's just not very good. Okay? They're not very good. Hopkins does help the offense, but in general, this team is not very good at all. Okay? Which brings me to the Vikings. Kirk Cousins was okay. Dalvin Cook really did the heavy lifting. 20 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Madison had a rushing touchdown. The run game in general did great. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 98 yards. Thielen, 6 for 67. Defense had 2 picks, 26 points allowed. Zadarius Smith had 3 sacks to tie the league in sacks with Matt Judon, my Patriots. 2 missed opportunities Minnesota had. Turnover on downs, the missed field goal. At some point, those missed opportunities catch up to you. I don't know when it's going to catch up to them. I know they play Buffalo, New England down the stretch, Green Bay once, okay? But those missed opportunities are going to catch up to you at some point. They're getting a break because they're winning, but when those missed opportunities don't cash, then what? And it's going to hurt them one game, I'm telling you. It's going to hurt them if they keep missing out on this, okay? But, again, 10 penalties to 1 turnover. They got cleaning up to do at 6-1. All right? They are getting no respect, I agree with, over Philly, the Niners and stuff. But if they clean up these little things, maybe. But I think partially, too, because Kirk Cousins is not a guy everybody's a big believer in, okay? He only has 1 playoff win. All right? That's probably why, too. Raiders and the Saints. Derek Carr, I started you in fantasy over Mahomes because Mahomes had a bye week. Derek Carr was trash. He gave me less than 2 fantasy points. You want the actual numbers? He gave me 1.94 in fantasy, ESPN fantasy, okay? I had Mahomes on bye, and he gives me less than 2 fantasy points. That's when you know you're trash. That's when you know you're trash, okay? 15 to 26, 101 yards, and a pick. Derek Carr, that was a trash game by you. Trash. I could go worse. I'm not going there. This was terrible, okay? Now, I picked the Raiders to make the playoffs. I am not backing off even after this, the shit game that they had. I'm not backing off because it's 1 game. I will say this, though. The rest of the stretch they still got KC once. I don't think they've played Denver yet, and they got the Chargers once. This doesn't look very good right now, okay? And I'm going to get to Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels again, okay? Because I'll bring that up later. But Derek Carr was trash. Josh Jacobs, the only guy that could run the ball above a yard a carry. Everybody else had minus 0.1, whatever. They couldn't run the ball outside of Josh Jacobs. Bad sign, okay? Mac Hollins, 7 catches, 64 yards. Offensive line gave up 4 sacks. Combine that with the 1 Jarrett Stidham took, okay? Defense gave up 24. Oh, yeah, what did I say beginning of the year? The problem with the Raiders was they can't stop anything. They are not a very good defense, mainly in the pass defense. Their secondary questions, okay? They had no sacks, no takeaways. They had a turnover on downs. They had a pick. 0-1 in the red zone. Well, you got shut out. That explains. 6 penalties and 1 turnover. And now the second meeting between Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels. It happened week 3 against the Titans. And now this game. And now there's rumors Josh McDaniels might be 1 and done in Vegas. 1 and done. So Hackett's having problems in Denver. Okay? McDaniels with Mark Davis. I told you, Chiefs are going to win that division by default because of coaching. Because of coaching in the West. And now the Raiders got issues between Davis and McDaniels. For the second meeting they've had this season. Problems. Which brings me to the Saints. Now, I want to correct something I said last week. The 2 interceptions, I don't blame Andy Dalton for. I said it on last week, I did. Because the one, I forgot, dropped off Callaway's hands. And then the other one, I forgot what the reason was. I think it just happened to be a better play, or just the receiver dropped it and it bounced up to Simmons' hands or something like that. But wanted to make that correction. But Andy Dalton this game was good. Kamara, he had dropped oh my God, he had over 40 fantasy points. 18 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Through the air, 9 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Him, Stephon Diggs. I mean, I mentioned him before. Now I'm missing his name. Jalen Waddle saved me. Okay, I won, but Derek Carr really, God, if I had any other quarterback, I would have won much better. But the main point is a win's in fantasy. Back to the Saints game. Defense got 4 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Tyrann Mathieu got a pick, 7-12 on third down. Symbols of a shutout. Okay? They were great. What more do we have to add? Okay? Which brings me to my Patriots against the Jets. Mac Jones was not very good this game. All right? Running game did good with Ramondre. He had the one big run out of the second half to start the drive off nice. Okay? Jacoby Myers did really good. 9 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Stevenson, 7 catches, 72 yards. He helped in the passing game. Offensive line, man. Oh, Lord. All right, I know what we need right now in going to next year's draft. This is unanimous, okay? We're going to try to ignore the phone call. But this offensive line sucks. 6 sacks allowed. Okay, it was like they were trying to get our quarterback killed. Okay? And I know they weren't to, but this is going back to a point I made last week. Why do we have a new blocking scheme with an unproven offensive coordinator who has no business making his own new scheme for some side he's never called before? Okay? This makes 0 sense. All right, 6 sacks allowed. This is what happens when you have a power run scheme that you've always been used to, and then you just completely go to a zone blocking scheme, which your linemen are not used to. This falls back to coaching, okay? But 6 sacks allowed. Terrible, okay? 17 points allowed the defense gave up, okay? 2 sacks. McCourty had 2 of the 3 picks, okay? Bentley had the other. We did have the INT that, he got hit and the ball was like a sitting duck and it fell right into the hands of Carter. The turnover on downs, which I'm going to get into right now, that was, oh my God. I got 2 Milky Ways I got saved up, 2 pieces of Halloween candy. I'm going to need one after what I'm going to say. Why are we in shotgun on 4th and 1 before half? Why? Why are we in shotgun on 4th and 1? Why, Patricia? Why? How about run the ball under center? You can't get 1 yard. Oh no. Shotgun. And this is not just my team. This is everybody now, apparently. 4th and 1, we're going shotgun. Why? Why? It's the simplicity of the game is going away. It just is. But I don't get why. It makes 0 sense. Okay? He sucks at offensive coordinator. He does. All right? This goes back to what I said last week. Coaching. Okay? 6 of 19 on third down. Trash. Okay? That's awful. 1 of 3 in the red zone. Terrible. Okay? 6 penalties. And then the 1 turnover. I don't blame Mac, but this offensive line's bad too. Okay? But just this team. I'm not saying we're making the playoffs. I'm not. I'm not even saying we're going to. Okay? I have 3 teams I can name quickly. Miami, Baltimore, and then if I had to pick a third team, and it's tough because I'm trying to think of quickly on the fly. 1 team in the West will probably end up getting it over us because of our issues and our late season schedule. Okay? But we're not making it. No, we're not making the playoffs. I'm not doing it. Nope. Which brings me to the Jets. Zach Wilson was not very good. A lot of throws off the back foot, falling away, turned right back into the turnover machine he is. Okay? 20 of 41, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Running game, Breece Hall being out, big loss for them. We're starting to see it. Tyler Conklin had a big day. He had 6 catches, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then Garrett Wilson went off against us. He had 2 big plays to start the game. He just was cooking us. Denzel Mims, he had the 1 play in basically garbage time that made the score closer than it was. Defense gave up 22. They got 6 sacks. Carter II, I mentioned his pick. 5 of 14 on third down, not very good. 2 of 3 in the red zone, 3 turnovers. Like I said, the Jets, we should win this game. I picked them because of pride. And Belichick, you know he's not going to lose to the Jets. You know he's not. But, you know what I got to do? Sit back, enjoy a win, and now I'm enjoying the Milky Way. MB 500. Who beats that? Steelers and the Eagles. Kenny Pickett was okay. Running game at its moments. Chase Claypool to Derek Watt for the touchdown. Offensive line gave up 6 sacks. I said in the beginning of the season, Pittsburgh's line's not very good. Wait till they meet a good front four. Eagles got them real bad. Defense gave up 35 points allowed, 3 sacks. They were able to get on Jalen Hurts. No takeaways, though. The fumble in the INT. Again, Pickett's going to learn and grow. You just have to give him time, patience. It's a long, rough year for Steelers fans. I know. But I'm giving this not just to you, but to those with a young quarterback. And you guys have the young quarterback right now. So, remember, it took Big Ben time. It took, I think Bradshaw, when he got in the league, before you guys got back to being the Steelers we all know. It needs time. You have a nice future. Okay? You just have to give this season an opportunity to build for the long haul. You guys are going to get your highest draft pick since, I want to say, 69 maybe? I don't know. But that's just a guess. I think it's when they drafted Joe Green. 1 of 12 on third down. Terrible. 1 of 3 in the red zone. Not very good. 9 penalties and 2 turnovers. Like I said, Pittsburgh is going to be a long year for you guys. Which brings me to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 19 of 28, 285 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pretty good game by him. Miles Sanders, 9 carries, 78 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown went off. Okay. He had 6 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. Oh, my God. Okay. Pascal had a receiving touchdown. Offensive line gave up 3 sacks. Again, they are a good line. I don't think they'll be this bad going forward. Defense, 6 sacks they were able to get on Pickett, 11 QB hits, 1 fumble recovery. Gardner Johnson had the pick. Avonte Maddox had the fumble recovery. 7 of 12 on third down. That's great. 8 penalties. They'll clean it up, but Philly is still unbeaten. Titans and the Texans. I don't really have a lot to add on this game. Malik Willis was not very good. Derrick Henry, I called it last week. 32 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Texans can't stop the run. Titans can run the ball. Derrick Henry, big game. That's what that equals. Hilliard had 8 carries, 83 yards. Don't think that offensive line is very good either. Okay? 3 sacks allowed. They're just a run blocking line. They are not very good pass protecting. Okay? Defense gave up 10. They got 3 sacks. Christian Fulton had the pick. They were terrible on third down. 4 of 12. Awful. 1 of 2 in the red zone. You're able to get away with it, but that's something that they don't look good in right now. 6 penalties, 2 turnovers. Yeah, they look sloppy this game, Tennessee. Texans, Davis Mills, don't tell me he's better than Mac Jones. Do not even tell me, okay? No way. Run game didn't really do much. Brandon Cooks, 4 catches, 73 yards. Damian Pierce had the receiving touchdown. Offensive line, 3 sacks. They're not very good either. Defense gave up 17 points allowed. Nelson had the INT. They got 3 sacks. The interception, again, by Davis Mills, the difference in the ball game. Okay? 2 of 14 on third down. Trash. 1 of 2 in the red zone. 1 possession cost you the game. 6 penalties. 1-5-1. They might be looking top 10 draft pick right now. Okay? Commanders and the Colts. I want to be short with this one too. Taylor Heineke was good. He had a passing and rushing touchdown. Still think he should start more over Wentz. Really, the rest of the year. Terry McLaurin, 6 catches, 113 yards. Man, he had a nice big grab over Gilmore that set up the game winner touchdown. Okay? Gibson had a receiving touchdown. Defense was great. Gave up 16. 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. Chase Young's back at practice. They got reinforcements coming. But third down, 2 of 12. They were terrible on third down. And 1 turnover. Squeaked by the Colts. Which brings me to the Colts and Sam Ehlinger. He was okay, Sam Ehlinger. Jonathan Taylor is really going to be the one doing the heavy lifting. 16 carries, 76 yards. Nyheim Hines, we'll talk about him. He had a rushing touchdown. Defense gave up 17 points allowed. They got 2 sacks. Shaq Leonard had a pick. 2 fumbles they had on the missed opportunity. That was basically the difference in the game. 1 of 3 in the red zone. 2 turnovers. The Colts got some problems to fix. All right, it's everywhere, and Frank Reich might be on the hot seat, although they said his job is safe for now. But let's see how the rest of the season goes, because they're, 3-4-1? They don't look any bit impressive. Niners and the Rams. Jimmy G was good. Christian McCaffrey was the big story of this game. He pulled the trifecta. I think the last guy to do it was LaDainian Tomlinson. And I think I missed one person. I think it was 1 of 3 people that were able to do the trifecta. I forgot who the third one was. Was it O.J. Simpson? I heard it, or I read it late Sunday night, early Monday morning. I was like, wow, that's amazing. But McCaffrey, he had a 34-yard passing touchdown, okay? He had 18 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and he had 8 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. That catch he made in the end zone, oh my God. He caught that like a receiver. He jumped up and over, and it was right along the sideline. Oh my God, what a tough catch he made, okay? Brandon Ayuk, 6 catches, 81 yards and a touchdown. Kittle had the touchdown. Offensive line had 3 sacks. They gave up 3 sacks. That'll get cleaned up. Defense, though, top 5 unit in the league. 14 points allowed, 2 sacks. 5 of 9 on third down. That's great. Big win, and they swept the Rams again. Again, they swept the Rams. Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay, except for last year's NFC Championship. If you're the Rams, you know, it's a worry right now, but you got the Super Bowl over Shanahan last year, so you guys technically still get the last laugh. Okay? Which brings me to the Rams. Matt Stafford was okay. Running game was non-existent. And now Cam Akers didn't get traded, so what are we going to do there? Okay. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches, 79 yards and a touchdown. The one guy that happens to always get in the end zone, and no one covers him, it looks like. Defense, Leonard Floyd got 2 of the team's 3 sacks. They got no takeaways. They were 8 of 13 on third down. That's great. It's just the Rams, they can't protect Stafford. It's basically Kupp, Higbee. They can't run the ball. Allen Robinson's not been what they thought he's been since they signed him in free agency. The defense is taking a step back. The Rams have really gone through the hangover. I still just have to hope they make the playoffs. My uncle's feeling real good. We're talking about Seattle in a minute, okay? He's feeling real good. I know he is. But, however, it's still half a season. All I need is just for them to finish ahead of Seattle. Okay, maybe make the playoffs, but I don't know if that's going to happen after their next game, because loser of that game's in trouble. I'll preview it when we get to the picks. But let's get to the Giants and Seahawks. You know what? This is a good week. The only thing that sucked was Brady didn't win. But the 3 things that would make a great weekend for me: Tom Brady wins, Patriots win, and the Giants lose. And 2 of the 3 happened. Damn it! We almost pulled the real trifecta here, man. But I told you, Giants fans, I told you this is not going to last long, because when you keep winning these close games, it catches up. And it caught up this week. You better believe it did. Daniel Jones, Not very good. 17 passing yards at half. Why did they not give more carries and touches to Saquon in the first half? I would like to know why. Okay? But you guys still know Saquon's the best player on the Giants. It goes through them. 20 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Okay? Darius Slayton, the only receiver that showed up. 5 catches, 66 yards. Okay? Offensive line had its worst game since the Dallas game. 5 sacks allowed against Seattle. Gave up 27 points. They were able to get 3 sacks against Geno. 10 hits. 1 fumble recovery. But they had 6 penalties and 2 turnovers. And they got basically beat on defense through the air and on the ground. They got some cleaning up to do on the long way back, and enjoy the bye week. And please, don't get me started with the Texans. You'll be fine, okay? 2 weeks really to get ready for them. You'll be fine. Which brings me to the Seahawks. Now, I did not think Geno Smith would be this good through 8 weeks. I told you, he's very streaky. One really good game, and then there. Surprisingly, that hasn't happened as much as I thought it would. There has been moments where, it's been good, and then an average game. Good and then average. It's like high volume and then back to average. High volume, back to average. That's what Geno is, okay? Kenneth Walker really, they found an identity. They know how to run the ball. 18 carries, 51 yards and a touchdown for him. He's been heating up last week as well with Rashad Penny being out. Lockett, 5 catches, 63 yards and a touchdown. Metcalf, 6 for 55 and a touchdown. Still a little shaky about the line because they're more of a run blocking line than a pass blocking line. Gave up 3 sacks. Defense gave up 13. That will work, okay? 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Blunt had the fumble recovery, but third down, they were 3 of 13. That was trash, okay? That was trash. But the Giants lose. I am enjoying another Milky Way, okay? I knew it. I knew the Giants would lose because it won't last. These close games, okay? I knew it. I knew it. I'm so glad I picked Seattle. So glad I picked them last week. Oh, man. I knew it. I knew it. Packers and the Bills. Aaron Rodgers was okay. Aaron Jones ran the ball well. 20 carries, 143 yards. They really were eating in that ground game. Like I'm eating this Milky Way right now. Romeo Dobbs, Tuare, they had a receiving touchdown each. I hope I pronounced his name right. Defense gave up 27 points allowed. They got 2 picks on Josh Allen. 4 bad missed opportunities in this game. 4. 2 turnover on downs. I think they happened both early in the game. The interception by Rodgers about midfield. The missed field goal they had to cut it within 7 in garbage time. But they had 6 of 12 on third down. That's great. 1 of 2 in the red zone. 8 penalties, though. Green Bay's got some work to do, okay? But I think in this game they found out they need to run the ball more and kind of lean less on Rodgers with those new young receivers until he finds some rapport with Lazard, Dobbs, Tuare, Watson, whoever it is. But that's what Green Bay's got to do, and I think they found it in this game Sunday night. Which brings me to the Bills. Josh Allen was okay. He threw a bad red zone pick. Okay? He threw a bad red zone pick. All right? Isaiah McKenzie had a rushing touchdown. Running game did good. Stephon Diggs went off. 6 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Dawson Knox got a touchdown. Defense gave up 17 points. 2 sacks. Milano had a pick. 2 of 7 on third down was not very good. 2 of 4 in the red zone. 2 turnovers. I mainly would say this. If I'm a defensive coordinator watching the Bills, watch that second half. Add that to the Miami game, the first half of the Ravens game. If you want to beat Buffalo, you got to put the pieces together, okay? And those 3 games I'm looking at, I'm going, They struggled against Baltimore first half, second half of Green Bay, and the Miami game was really their worst game of the season. You can find something in those 3 games where you go, we might have a chance against them. You might lose, but if that's your best way to beat the Bills, you got to look at those little bits of those games and say, what do we do? Well, this Packer game showed a way how to slow them down and to beat the Bills in general, okay? But the second half for them was bad. And I expect them to really come out strong against the Jets next week. Bengals and the Browns. Joe Burrow was okay. Running game was a no-show. Higgins and Boyd receiving touchdown each with Jamar Chase being out. Offensive line turned back into the unit that struggled the first 2 weeks of the season. Gave up 5 sacks to the Browns. Defense gave up 32 points, couldn't stop the run. 2 sacks, a fumble recovery. Von Bell had a pick. They had the interception, fumble, and the missed field goal as 3 missed opportunities in the game. 2 turnovers. Just a bad night on Halloween, okay, for the Bengals. It was bad, which brings me to the Browns. Jacoby Brissett had a good game. Nick Chubb did a heavy lifting, 23 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. My pick for Offensive Player of the Year. Amari Cooper, 5 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Kind of sticking it to the Cowboys for trading him, thinking that he didn't have a lot left. Well, he's had a pretty good amount of games so far for them where he shows he's had a lot left. Okay? Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 catches, 81 yards. Defense gave up 13. Best game they've played, I think, since the Steelers game. Maybe the best they've played all year. 5 sacks, a fumble recovery, a pick. 8 of 13 on third down. That's great. 6 penalties, 2 turnovers. They'll clean up, though. But big win for the Browns, and they keep their season alive for right now. All right. That's the recapping with Rich. Now, I want to go over quickly the big trade deadline moves that happened within the last couple of days or last week. We already know of a few, like McCaffrey to the Niners. I'm not going back that far, but I will get into a couple that happened within the last week. Robert Quinn going to the Eagles. What do I think of that move? That's a good move for Philly because now their front seven's deep. Okay, the Bears are kind of investing for the future with draft picks and all that. But Robert Quinn adds already to a front four that has Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick. Okay, Derek Barnett, I don't know if he's playing, but I know he's on that front four. With Javon Hargrave, who had a game. All right, Jordan Davis is now out, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. Eagles really got a nice pickup with Robert Quinn. He's going to add a nice, rotation to the pass rush, keep those guys healthy. All right, and he's going to be a nice addition to that Eagles defense. All right, that's one. All right, the Ravens, okay, with Roquan Smith. I don't know why they made this move because Patrick Queen's been okay, but I listened to a little bit of context on it, and he's, he's the leading tackler in the league right now. He can do, stop the run really well. He can hit. They call him a thumper, okay? He's okay in pass coverage. I think he's pretty good, but I wouldn't say he's, great. But he's very good as an overall middle linebacker. More run stopper. Okay, he can play pass coverage, but he's more of a run stopper, and he can definitely, fill in and make a big contribution to the Ravens on defense to help get them to where they think they need to go. Love that trade for the Ravens. Again, I mentioned the Bears. They got some draft picks for the future. All right, I'm going to speak of the Bears right now. Actually, they got Chase Claypool from the Steelers. I like that because now they get another big, tall receiver for Justin Fields, somebody for him to get comfortable with, okay? And you add that to what could be N'Keal Harry, what could be other pieces. But Chase Claypool's somebody that Justin Fields can maybe build some chemistry with. And maybe he does establish himself as a number one receiver for them down the road. They're supposed to have $100 million in cap space next year, so the Bears are building for the future. That's what I can say. All right? Steelers got a second-round pick out of that. Not bad, actually, for them, I would say. All right? Miami getting Bradley Chubb from Denver. Okay? And their front four is not bad either with Christian Wilkins. Jalen Phillips is there. And now Bradley Chubb. And now they don't have to blitz as much. They can play coverage with Howard. I know Brandon Jones is out for the year, but Javon Holland's a good safety. Miami getting Bradley Chubb is a move that could get them maybe to the second round if they verse Tennessee. Helps them against maybe a team like Cincy who can't protect Burrow well. But if it's a move to put them over KC and Buffalo, I don't see that. But it's a move that can maybe get them to at least a wild card, maybe out of the first round. Okay? That's the way that I see Miami going right now. The Vikings getting T.J. Hawkinson from the Lions. Irv Smith's now out for a couple weeks. Hawkinson's a guy that's another big receiver, tight end that can help with Kirk Cousins. Help take pressure off Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook in the running game, and Adam Thielen. And they still have Jalen Reagor and Osborne. A nice addition for Minnesota to help take the pressure off Jefferson and Thielen. Hawkinson's good. He can stretch the field. He's just inconsistent, okay? That's what I'll say there for Minnesota. I'm going through the teams real quick that made some trade deadline moves. Oh, Miami also got Jeff Wilson Jr. for running back depth because they traded Chase Edmonds to Denver. So somebody McDaniel's familiar with. That makes sense there as well. I'm going through these lists. Bills getting Nyheim Hines. I mean, I know they were trying to get Kamara, but Nyheim Hines is not bad. Okay, he's a nice, helps in the return game. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. So, in a way, if I'm the Bills, that's actually a good trade. It's a good trade. And then that's really the big trade deadline that I know of. If I missed a trade, please comment down below. I'll bring it up on the next time I do recap with Rich, because I want to make sure that I give you guys the best info that you guys need to know for every week of the NFL season. So those are the trade deadline deals that happened, to catch those up that probably didn't follow it. But let's get into the Week 9 picks. And it starts with the Eagles and the Texans. I don't think the Texans can stop the run. The Eagles like to run the ball. Plain and simple pick here. Give me the Eagles 40, the Texans 14. Falcons and the Chargers. Nope. I'm not picking the Chargers. Nope. I'm not doing it. The Chargers just pissed me off lately. And Atlanta can run the ball. The Chargers couldn't stop Kenneth Walker. And they had trouble with Cleveland. They're having trouble on defense. I like Atlanta to pull off the upset. Give me Atlanta 24. Give me the Chargers 23. Miami and Chicago. Miami's going to have to be able to deal with that rushing attack. But I don't know if the Bears have an answer for Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. The only good thing is Miami's not used to the cold in Chicago. And that might give them a chance. But I don't see any way they slow down Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Give me Miami 27, the Bears 17. Bengals and the Panthers. Carolina's coming off a really emotional loss. Cincinnati's coming off a bad week on a short week. But Cincinnati's going to have to be able to protect Burrow. The Panthers, they can run the ball, but they don't really have the guys in the passing game that give Cincinnati a sweat. Cincinnati, with Chase being out, with Higgins and Boyd, they're going to have to step up. I believe they'll get Mixon going more. Give me the Bengals 30. Give me the Panthers 17. Packers and the Lions. This is an over game. And I know I just said Green Bay's a running team. But if Lazard comes back and Dobbs and those other receivers start to step up, this is the game to do it. The Lions can't stop anything, okay? They are that bad on defense. They can't stop a runaway train. They can't stop a cold. They're that bad, okay? Give me the Packers 34, the Lions 24, because the Lions will be able to score. So 34-24, Packers over the Lions. My Patriots take on the Colts. I want to feel like we're going to be okay this game. But after that Bears Monday night game, I don't know what to expect of my team anymore. We should win this game, but we hope, please, I hope Sam Ellinger does not turn into Justin Fields again. I really hope. But we better take away the run, because Jonathan Taylor's their big guy, and that's it. Okay? We need to be able to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. If we can't, well, like I said, we won't make the playoffs. But I'm taking my Patriots 23-13 over the Colts. I do think that we'll be able to get the run game going. I do think Mac Jones will have a bounce-back game. Give me 23-13 Patriots over the Colts. Bills and the Jets. Zach Wilson with that Bills defense and the Jets defense against Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and the crew. Yeah, give me the Bills. They're gonna the bad taste they had at the second half of Green Bay. They're gonna go off in the first half. Give me Buffalo 45, the Jets 10. Vikings and the Commanders. Oh, Kirk Cousins versus his former team, but I don't know if the Washington Commanders can score with Minnesota. I don't see it. Give me the Vikings 30-20 over the Commanders. I think that Minnesota will be able to outscore them, and I don't see how Washington slows them down the way Minnesota's playing. I just think it'll come down to the Vikings defense making a couple stops on Heineke, and that's why Minnesota wins the game. Raiders and Jaguars. I'm not going to back off Vegas. I think Vegas wins over the Jags. I don't think the Jags can stop anything. If the Raiders don't have a game where they are supposed to do what I think they'll do on offense, which is get Jacobs going and get Adams and Renfro and Hollins some looks, then, I think they'll be in trouble. But Jacksonville can't stop anybody. So I'm going to go with the Raiders 23-16 over the Jags. Seahawks and Cardinals. Seattle beat Arizona early in the year. In Seattle, though, Arizona, I'm shaky about the defense. Geno played okay against them last time. Kenneth Walker, can they get him going maybe? But I just think Geno Smith right now is a little bit more trustworthy than Kyler Murray is. I'm going to go with Seattle 23-17 over the Cardinals. Bucs and the Rams. Two teams that need to win a game badly in their own ways. I don't know how the Bucs are going to be able to guard Cooper Kupp because they have no answer for him. But I feel like that this Bucs offense, they need to get in a game with a rhythm. And they got in a rhythm late against these guys in the playoffs last year. Tom's got that bad taste out of his mouth from the Rams in the playoffs. But this is a tough one to pick, man. Tampa's got to win. They got to win. 10 days off. Give me Tampa. 27-21. Give me Tampa over the Rams. I think the Bucs defense can get a couple picks off Stafford. The Rams can't run the ball. Tampa's going to have to play the pass more. I think they'll be able to do that. They're just going to need some takeaways, though. All right? Chiefs and the Titans. Derrick Henry against the Chiefs defense. I don't know. Lately, when I watch the Chiefs defense, they've had Henry's number. But the Titans against Mahomes, the Titans secondary against Mahomes, it's in Arrowhead. Yeah, give me Andy Reid off the bye. Give me the Chiefs 35-23 over the Titans. Ravens Saints. I just don't trust Andy Dalton and them to pull off the upset against the Ravens, okay? I don't know if Mark Andrews is going to play. That's a big injury I'm waiting to hear word about. But if I had to pick the game right now, give me the Ravens 26, the Saints 23. I think the Saints are going to hang in this game, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull off the win. All right, so those are my Week 9 picks. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell to get all the updates you need when we get a new episode in, so that way you guys can stay up to date what's going on during the NFL season, okay? Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll see you guys next week for the next episode of Lounge Time, and I'll see you guys either tomorrow or Saturday for guarantee it. But until next time, I will see you guys next week on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good night, everyone.